This might be hard to believe, but Vinícius Júnior used to be absolutely terrible.
He's bloody missed it!
But don't take my word for it, because what Karim Benzema said about him in one game was one of the most embarrassing things that has ever been said to any player. But I'll get back to Karim and Vinicius a little later, because to fully understand why it was so embarrassing, we need to go back to where it all started. Well, not that far back. Vinicius started from the bottom, growing up in a very poor part of São Gonçalo. His family legit made next to no money. Things were pretty dark for the family, but little Vinny was always their shining star. His talent was undeniable from a young age, and it didn't take long before one of Brazil's biggest clubs came knocking. Flamengo recruited Vinícius Júnior when he was only 10 years old, and Vinicius was an instant favourite. He stood out amongst his peers, and soon enough became a top player in the youth academy. 2017 was the year where Vini had his first big break. It was in one of the biggest youth tournaments in Brazil, called the Copa São Paulo. Vinicius played in the tournament when he was only 16 years old and absolutely smashed the competition. He was so impressive that he quickly got called up for the Brazilian Under-17 national squad. He joined them for the South American Under-17 Championship, where he demolished defenders and finished as the top goal scorer of the tournament. He was also crowned as player of the tournament. The man was unstoppable. It was only a matter of time before big teams in Europe started lining up to get his signature.
Here comes the money!
Here we go!
Vinicius gave Barcelona and Real Madrid another reason to compete, and both of them really wanted to sign him. But as you know, it's Real who managed to seduce Vini successfully with a life-changing amount of money. Just shy of $50 million. Who can say no to that? The crazy part is Vini signed for Real Madrid before he had even played a single match for the Flamengo senior team. He wasn't even old enough to get a European passport, so he had to stay with Flamengo until he was 18. He started playing regularly for the senior team, and he continued to impress both Flamengo and Real Madrid. But then it started going downhill a little, as he made a minimal impact with 4 goals and a single assist in 32 games. Definitely not great, but Vinicius was still very young. The next season, he did a little better, with 6 goals and 3 assists in 17 games. Maybe he would have done more as time went on, but this is exactly where his story takes a dark turn. See, it all started because Vinícius Júnior had forgotten to do one of the most important things in the entire world. He had forgot to like and subscribe to the freaking channel. Obviously I'm kidding, but come on, just like the video and subscribe. It takes only a few seconds and gets us a little bit closer to that mighty 100,000 number. Thanks boys, but now back to Vini. See, when Vini arrived at Real Madrid back in 2018, he was only 18 years old. Young players like him always need some time to adjust to their new team and find their place in the coach's system. But Vinicius was very unlucky and walked right into a shitstorm. Cristiano Ronaldo had just left Real for Juventus, and suddenly there was a huge gap to fill in the team. Madrid didn't have that many options, and so just like that, a young Vinicius was thrown into Real Madrid's senior team. And that season ended up being one of the worst seasons in Real Madrid's history. They were terrible, but through it all, Vinicius managed to shine. His amazing skill and occasional display of individual brilliance caught the eye of fans everywhere. He just kept on terrorizing opponents on his left wing. Everyone could see that this kid was on track to become something special. But they saw another thing that was going to be quite a massive problem. See, when it came to goal scoring, Vinícius Júnior was absolutely ass. Some of the chances he missed were shocking. Seriously, my grandma could have scored that with a freaking blindfold on.
They ask you how you are, you just have to say that you're fine when you're not really fine, but you just...
In the 2018-2019 season, he only scored one single goal in La Liga before getting injured for the rest of the season. Vinícius Júnior's dream move to Real Madrid was starting to turn into a nightmare. Now, many still had faith in Vinny and thought he would learn more under the leadership of the greatest bold coach in the world, Mr. Zinedine Zidane. Which, if you haven't been living under a rock, you'll know he was an absolute master at finishing. Vinny did improve as an overall player, but his finishing was still incredibly awful. It looked like the only thing he could finish on a match day was his dinner.
Why you bullying me?
Vinny's drought continued to frustrate everyone, including his teammates, and it was at this point that Benzema said some words that hurt Vinny deeply. Madrid were 2 goals down in a Champions League game against Borussia Mönchengladbach at half-time. The players were coming out for the second half of the game when Karim Benzema was caught on camera saying something to Ferland Mendy.
He is playing trash, brother. Don't play with him on my mother's life. He's playing against us.
Damn, I don't know how you even show your face on the pitch after that. I would have packed my stuff and gone straight back home. And it doesn't stop there. It got even worse when the video was leaked to the public. Everyone agreed with Benzema. Ouch! Everyone knew Vinícius Júnior was very skillful and talented, but if he could not score goals, he was going to be relegated to the background really, really quickly. Something needed to change. And during the next season, the world saw a completely different Vinícius Júnior. Carlo Ancelotti had taken over from Zinedine Zidane, and as soon as he took over, he dropped Vinícius Júnior. Ancelotti decided to use the older, more experienced players for his campaign. It looked like the worst had happened for Vinícius until one match against Alaves, where Ancelotti brought him on as a sub. He came on and scored one final goal for Madrid to help them win the game 4-1. It wasn't very clear yet, but fans could tell that there was just something different about Vinícius Júnior. He was more confident and composed in front of goal. And to prove that this wasn't a fluke, Vinny came off the bench in the very next game where Madrid were losing 3-1 to score 2 goals and secure a draw for Madrid. Heads were turning, opinions were changing, and Eden Hazard's days were numbered. A new Vinny was in town and he was coming for his spot. Soon, Hazard was dropped and Vinícius became a regular starter. And since then, Vinícius Júnior has only gotten better and better. Whatever he did in that off-season before 2022 has worked like magic. He kept scoring for Real Madrid and was a big part of their La Liga win. He finished the season with 22 goals and 20 assists in 52 games. That's definitely more like it. Vinny's most iconic moments came, of course, during the Champions League final against Liverpool. He scored the only goal in that game to win the trophy for Real Madrid, permanently cementing his spot in the Madrid Hall of Fame, at least amongst the fans. But maybe the biggest turnaround of the year came from Karim Benzema. Vinícius had become so good that Benzema had no choice but to swallow his pride, take back his previous statement, and even apologize. There were some doubts about whether he could keep up the good form, but Vinícius has put those doubts to bed and tucked them in real neatly. His consistency is incredible. He scored 2 goals in the 5-3 win against Al Hilal to win the Club World Cup for Real Madrid. He's also scored 20 goals and had 11 assists in all competitions. But sadly, things haven't been all sweet for Vinny, because what rival fans have been doing to him lately is just absolutely disgraceful. Vinícius Júnior is a joyful player who loves to dance whenever he scores, but some rival fans definitely didn't love his dancing and decided to hurl racially abusive chants at him. But that isn't going to stop Vinícius Júnior from having fun and scoring goals on the pitch, because that's just who he is. It might even trigger him to score more goals. In my opinion, Vinícius should be an inspiration for many, many young ballers. He's gone from a player who was hated by his teammates to becoming the best left-forward striker in the world. His hard work, determination, and willingness to improve has made him who he is today. And I think Vinny is going to become one of the best players in the future, right up there with another Brazilian legend, Neymar. And speaking about Nene, if you want to see how this guy spends his millions, including $4 million cars, multiple private jets, just watch this video. This guy definitely doesn't hold back on his spending.